All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Trail Network podcast. I'm Hilary Yang. We have Katie Asmuth, Leah Yingling, and Rachel Drake. It's always such a treat to get all four of us in the same room, and especially looking at you, Rachel, because I know that you just came off of the most ridiculous day. So we were going to talk about this, but we're like, we should just hit record and talk about it now. So fill us in on what you've been up to and why your day was so insane today.
Guys, I just took a 2-day test. It was the third
ultra test.
I've taken so many tests, but this one was like no other. Yesterday was 6 hours and today was 9 hours.
Oh my God.
With only 45 minutes of break time.
That's 9 hours.
This was the USMLE, the medical licensure exam, the 3rd edition, and it was intense.
They're just like trying to break you, right? They're just like finding any way they can.
It was like a stamina thing more than anything. And I was telling Tyler, I was like, so much of this is just like, stay focused.
Yeah.
Like
caffeine gels. Yeah. Like, how are you fueling this?
Yeah. I took a picture of all the snacks that I brought in. I had cold pizza. I had artichoke dip, pretzel crisps, clementines, gummy bears, chocolate pretzels. I had tea, coffee, smoothie, and water.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Could you pee? Did they let you pee during it?
You can take breaks, but I was like, everything was very strategic, you know?
Ugh. Why? Because you were worried about running out of time?
Well, I didn't want to drink too much so that I had to pee too much, but I knew I only had so much break time. So I would try to do like a 90-minute push and then take a 5-10 minute break. I would like run around the stairs and like power walk to try to get my blood pumping. I'm wearing these blue light blocking glasses because like I feel like my brain is just completely fried. But you guys, there's so much about this that I feel like I've learned things from running that made the test better. Like I kind of did a little recon mission a few days before to like.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Oh, you see my Strava? Yeah, I like ran to the testing center to make sure I knew where I was gonna park and like where the room was. And the other thing I did is I talked to some people who took the test, and similar to ultra running, I feel like I got some mixed like input where some people were like, oh, you're going to be great. You're going to have so much fun. And other people were like, I actually did have fun, you guys. Yeah. The other people were like, oh, this is like no other test you've ever taken. Like you can hardly prepare. I reviewed everything from the first one and the second one. And I did all the practice questions. And I'm like, I feel exactly like how I felt talking to this trail runner at my first world championships when they were like, oh, you've run CCC. That's not a competitive race. Worlds is a whole new ball game. Like you're going to be in for it. And I feel like I
just hear in the headlights.
Worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the Katies who's just like, yeah, send it. Competition fun.
I mean, those people that are just trying to intimidate other people, I just don't get it. I like don't understand anyway. But
yeah. I like being older too and being able to be like, okay, dude, like, good for you that you did all that.
That was your approach.
Like, that was your approach. Like, I had a sick kid and...
Yeah, and rage too. It's like you're in a mature spot too where you can like hear those conflicting feelings and be able to like parse out what's useful for you and apply it to like your own stressful day.
Yep, totally. It takes like a little bit of aging though, I think, to get to that point because 5-10 years ago, like before I took the MCAT, I was just like such a nervous wreck. So
do you guys ever feel like you get advice from somebody and you're like, that's incorrect advice, or like that's bad advice, and I'm just gonna put that on the side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of unrelated, but also related. It's like every time I go to a restaurant, I ask the waiter like what their recommendation is, and then they say something that I'm not exactly jazzed on, but I'm so much of a people pleaser at heart. I'm like, okay, give me that.
Oh, you don't, Leah.
That's too
Oh my goodness.
Okay, well, as a former waiter, you guys, I used to like pride myself on recommending something that I'd never tried before and didn't give a shit about.
What?
I don't know why. I just thought it was dumb because it was
people.
But like, it's such a personal preference. Like, how are
Yeah.
you going to like something I like? I just thought it was the stupidest question, so I would give a stupid answer.
Well, you can give a little framework and be like, I
I
am
know, I
in
was
the mood for
18.
something fresh. I don't know. Ugh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that now. I actually think I'd be a really good waiter now. I don't think I was a good waiter back when I was like 18, 19 years old. I didn't even know how to pour a beer correctly. It was all foam. So
Oh, I got a good waitressing story from when I worked as a waitress. Somebody ordered
yeah?
a Tanqueray tonic, and I went back to the bartender and I was like, "Hey, man, somebody just ordered a Tank and Ray. Like, what is that?"
Oh my god.
He's like, you're
I
fired.
was like, I went home and told my parents, and they just died laughing. I was
Oh
like,
my
"You guys
God.
gotta educate me." Like,
These sophisticated drinks, like. Oh, that's so cute. Oh man. Well, we live and learn.
Oh, goodness.
So you had a crazy day, Rach. Is it over?
good, it's
Are you done?
over. I'm done.
Whoa.
Do you know if you passed or
Yeah.
not?
I was just looking it up. It's like 4 weeks usually
Oh my
until
God.
you find out. So
Isn't
I'll
that
report
mean?
back.
Like, can't you just press the button? It's on. I mean,
I
just like tell me.
know.
Like, you know, if I pass,
I
like
know.
computer, just tell me.
Doing the scan
No.
thing, right? Like,
It's
I have
on
no
the
idea.
computer, yeah. But I think they kind of group it, and then like when everyone's done taking the same test, then they score it
Yeah.
all together or something. Then they can kind of weight it.
Yeah, weed out some questions that
Yeah.
every single person got wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, I'm
What
sorry to go
about
through that.
you, Katie? You got a race coming up here not too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
How's
just
the
got off
training
with
going,
Vic,
Katie?
I'm
actually.
excited.
Mhm.
What are you racing? I mean, I know, but tell the audience.
I'm
what
racing
they
by
should know
Canyon
too.
100K. I am back at it. It is my re-entry into the sport. I'm calling it a re-entry, not a comeback. I don't know why. That feels just like gentler. Yeah,
Like
I'm super
Eminem.
pumped.
Don't call it a comeback. She's already
Yeah,
back.
the comeback just
Whatever.
feels like a lot of pressure. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm back. And
I never left.
yeah, that feels fun. I also just, you go through, it's back to that same concept of like, I've done this so many times. Like, I know how to race. I know what race nerves are. I know what taper feelings. I know all the feelings are like, I know what it looks like to start planning for aid stations and, how I'm going to, work my way through the race. And I know all that. And it's really interesting because you change as a person, turns out. And like things change. Like I'm wearing a different pack than I'm used to. No, that's already public. Okay, good. I'm wearing a different pack than I'm used to. So I'm like learning how to use that. It's just like those sort of going through the motions and making sure you can still get quick turnover, that sort of thing. So it's like I'm trying to kind of finesse those details right now. But I mean, like how much more trainings and I give a 20 miler on Friday. I mean, I'm still putting in the miles, but it's like, all right, I'm fit. Let's just see what happens out there. And I don't know. I'm also like, I'm just so stoked, you guys. I'm just so excited to be back.
For
and
you.
It could be a great day. It could
I'm
not be
so
a great day. I don't even
excited.
care. I mean, I do care. I definitely care. But like, I also am any way, however it's shaped out, I'm going to toe that line. At least that's the plan. And I'm just really going to be stoked to be at that line. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm feeling really positive about it and just kind of like, we'll see, but I will say it is different because I have a new sponsor. So it's like all new shoes. It's new gear. It's new everything. So you're just kind of like learning a new system about how to race. And so it's been fun, honestly. It's different and it's a challenge. I feel like that's something that people don't talk a lot about actually when you switch sponsors, about how there is a little bit of like I don't want to call it, it's definitely not growing pains because it's all good, but it's just this like, I need to learn how this works and like what shoes work for this and how I use this new brand.
Yeah, just because you love a brand, like even if you're not sponsored, like there's some shoes that you like and some shoes you don't like by the brand. Like you sort of
You just need to put them all on your
know?
feet and give it a go and see what happens. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, and it's tough too because there's only so many like long runs in a training block that you want to like try different shoes on your
Right.
long runs, and then there's like probably a handful of shoes that you're choosing from, and then you're like, oh, I want to do multiple long runs in these shoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets complex.
Yep.
I'm excited to see it all
where
come
I'm at
together.
right now. But I'm feeling good. Like, I'm excited. I'm super pumped, and I'm just really excited to be all together and feel like back with the community, and from actually being able to race, you know, because I've been with the community all along, but just from a racing perspective will be fun. So yeah.
I feel like after being out, like having experienced that, being out injured or like just not being able to really race, it's like it feels so special. And I feel like I don't know how it's going to feel for you, but for me, when I had like my first few races back after being healed, I feel like there was no pressure. It was like, I'm just so happy to be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that, I mean, it just extends itself into every race that you do. You're like so grateful, like never forget kind of how much it really sucked not being able to run. Cause I feel like if you bring that gratitude, like you can have that pull you through dark times in the race too.
Yeah. I had a situation, I will say this, so I've been wearing insoles because I like orthotics because I want to support my foot, because I had 2 surgeries on my foot. So I'm like, I better support my foot. My PT told me it was a good idea. So I did that. And then once I hit the 30-mile mark, it turns out that you get really bad hot spots with orthotics on your arches. And I was like, well, that was a good thing to learn, because I wouldn't have known that. Right. So this sort of thing, it's like, and I was so proud of myself, I will say, you guys, is that it happened. And I was like, wow, I have hot spots. Like, I'm going to get a blister. I'm going to have to figure this out. And I just approached it. It was so validating, because you can talk the talk all you want about being positive and about feeling like rah, gratitude, blah, blah. But when you're in it and you're feeling frustrated because you have this hot spot and you're like, darn it, now what am I going to do? Because I can't run without my orthotics, like da-da-da. And you could kind of spiral. And it was so fun. And I was so proud of myself. I got in the car and I was like, yes, that was awesome. I'm so excited. I learned about that early and I can figure that out now. And it was more of this curiosity mindset and problem solving mindset. And it was like, ooh, like that's interesting. Like now I have to figure that out. And it was so cool to feel like confident in my resilience, or my like feeling like I love to problem solve. And that felt really good to feel that confusion and frustration and just be like, actually, I don't feel those things. I feel curious and like interested. I don't know. Anyway, so yes, totally. I think grounding yourself in that and then actually giving yourself the opportunity to feel some lows. And that just comes with experience. And I finally got to throw myself into a 50K and be like, it wasn't a race, just like on my own, and be like, yeah, I felt a low and I was totally fine with it. It was great. It was awesome, actually. I learned. Anyway, so.
Well, and you want to learn that early.
Yeah.
Can I tell a funny insole story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since that totally brought that up for me. So my very first trail race was Squamish 50K in 2013, and signed up for it like on a dare, basically, because someone told me I couldn't run that far, and I was like, oh, I'll show you. And it was like 2 weeks later, and I had like minor plantar fasciitis at the moment, and so I was like, I'm going to get insoles, not knowing anything about any insoles, but I had a corporate job. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to get the leather insoles, because then after the race is over, I can use them in my dress shoes. This is going to be great.
Brilliant.
I only have to buy 1 pair of insoles. So I went to the drugstore and I got like Dr. Scholl's leather dress shoe insoles, and I put those in my runners, and I ran my first 50K with these leather insoles in my shoes. And I got to the 30K mark, Katie, and I started getting the worst blisters you've ever seen in your life on the insides of my arches, because they just like fucking, sorry, they
Like,
just
of
rub.
course. Like, why didn't we think of this? Like, duh.
No,
Yeah.
I
Oh
know.
my gosh.
And then being an idiot and not realizing you're allowed to stop in a race and that's okay, and you should probably take care of problems, I decided to just like suffer, and like I ran the last 20K on the outsides of my feet
Oh my
because of these
gosh.
blisters.
That's pretty hardcore.
And then I like walked the last 10K because I couldn't run anymore, and it was like a 9-hour 50K. I learned a lot.
I love you didn't
across
know
the
it was an
finish line.
option to drop out.
I have a photo of my feet from the finish line, and I almost want to use it as the cover for our episode this week, but it's so gross that no one will listen to the
Do
episode.
You'll have to at
But
least
it's
send
like-
it to us.
They're like, I'm holding up my hand. It's like a sand dollar size, like blister on the inside of each foot, and the skin was just gone. And so that was my first 50K. And so take it from me.
Maybe
Don't
not
wear
the leather
orthotics.
insoles.
No, definitely not the leather ones, but no insoles.
Hot
'cause they do
tip.
rub.
Orthotics are out
Yeah.
2025, y'all.
Oh my God. Anyways, so that's so funny. I haven't thought about that in a long time. But Katie,
I mean, it
don't
seems
do it.
obvious, right? But I was like, well, like just
Sure
you
does,
too, right?
yeah.
I was like, might as well support my foot more. Like,
Yeah, more
and
cushion.
it's been fun
Yeah,
because
makes
I've been
sense.
running, anything 20 miles and less for me was totally fine. And then I hit that 30 miler and I was like, oh, nope, felt that.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yep. Oh my God. But that's good. You're getting all these things out of the
That's
way
right.
now.
That's
And oh my God. Is it just me that's going to be a Black Canyon, or Leah or Rachel?
No, I have. We help with the volunteer coordination at RUFA here in Salt Lake every year, and it's unfortunately on the same weekend, which is a bummer.
So sad.
I think it's my first time missing Black Canyon in probably four years.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, I'll cheer extra hard for you, Katie. It's going to be awesome.
thanks. I'll be feeling the energy, guys. It'll be fun.
Hilary, send us updates if you can.
Oh my God, I will. I don't have any responsibilities. I think I'm doing some like commentary stuff on the Sunday for the 50K.
Oh, nice.
So I have to
fun.
like go research who's running that. But that'll be fun. But I think for Saturday, I'm just going to run around and take photos for fun, which I never get to do. I'm like really excited about
awesome.
that. So I'll be your personal cheer crew. Katie.
Yay. Oh my gosh, need it. It's going to be so fun.
We'll have to, I want to like talk to you right after Katie too, and just like get
Ooh,
your
like
initial
FaceTime her.
impressions of it.
Yeah,
I can FaceTime with the group. That'd be
good.
that's a
And
good
then
idea.
we'll
No, I want to
record it,
record a
release
pod.
it.
I want to
yeah.
I want to just get your initial impressions. I mean, that's what we were going to do last year. That was going to be because we were just starting the podcast.
And we were all there.
yeah.
Right?
And we were all there.
Yeah.
We were all there.
And we were going to, I don't remember why we didn't. I think because Rachel was like, I'm out.
It was way too much.
I was like, I just ran 100K. I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you crushed. I remember telling Tyler, Rach, because I actually didn't know you super well then. I just like admired you. And I remember telling Tyler, I have such a girl crush on your wife. And you were just like, it was like very, very cool to just see you like running with so much joy all day. And I was just like, oh man, I want to be really good friends with her. And then,
Look at us
who
now.
knew?
These are all
I
my girl
know,
crushes.
42
Should that be the name of the
later.
episode? Who's your girl crush?
And a girl crushers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually cute.
Quick pause in the show to tell you about a fun new project with Strava and Barilla, the pasta company. Barilla wants to help you stay active this winter with its great tasting protein plus pasta. It's the pasta taste you love with the energy you want. And let's be real, we all need carbs and protein, and turning to Barilla Protein Plus Pasta is a perfect way to do so with ingredients like lentil flour, pea protein, chickpea flour. You can easily increase your protein intake with 17 grams of protein per 3.5 ounce serving. So go grab the yellow box of Barilla pasta next time you're in the grocery store. Put your energy to the test and take on Barilla's Protein Plus Pasta Winter Energy Challenge this February on the Strava Fitness App. It's free, and all you need to do is simply complete 10 days of movement for your Barilla Protein Plus Pasta reward. Terms and conditions apply. Sign up at strava.com/Barilla.
Well, that's like kind of what Leah was saying before the episode. We were talking about what we wanted to dive into, and you were just like saying or reflecting on maybe how a lot of the women in our sport and just like don't get the credit that they deserve or even like the recognition.
Totally.
Right?
I think there was like one instance recently in the media talking about like female athletes on like a brand's team, and like these guys couldn't come to a conclusion of like any of the female athletes on the team. And then I was in a thread today that was talking about like female creatives in the sport and just like listing off all like the major players on the photography and videography side, and like listing all these men. They were like, are there women that are like the same tier? And I was like, there's a ton. And yeah, I just think,
come on,
like, Hilary, you're in that group, and like there's just so many awesome female creatives out there that I just don't think get played.
Like, I
just gotta call it out. I just gotta call it out. So I was listening to the Boulder Boys podcast.
Oh, she did it!
And
Snap!
they
Yep.
they had a really cool prompt where they were talking about like, all right, let's make teams like 50 miles. We're gonna pick a male and a female athlete from like Adidas, Hoka, and Nike. And then like they did all the teams and they get to Nike, and I don't know who's who on there, but one of the guys was like, wait, does Nike have any women on their team?
Oh my
And
god.
I was just like, what?
Like screaming at my
These are
phone.
professional athletes. Like, how do they?
Come on, you guys.
Matt
Like,
used
I'm
to
friends
run
with a
for
lot of
Nike.
you.
Like, come on, Matt, dude.
Oh my god, it's so
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, we
So-
can love them, but not give them a pass for that one. 'Cause that's just like, yeah.
Full on.
And then eventually I
I
think
thought
they
it was pretty
came
funny.
to the Rachel
I should
conclusion.
text Matt. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know. We should all just text him right after this and be like, Matt, like all at the same time.
Shame.
I don't even know if it was Matt that said it. I don't remember, but
Oh, I think a lot of them are going to be at Black Canyon.
I think
running
Seth's
the
running
60K.
it. Actually, I
So
think
you-
Matt is too, maybe? I don't know. Seth is.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be like,
Matt-
oh, are there any guys
not
from the
running
Nike
anymore.
team like
Oh, okay.
here this weekend? Like, I don't know.
Adam signed up for the 50K, I
That's
think.
funny. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, Adam's coming back.
yeah.
Nice.
It makes me frustrated when men in the sport don't know the women in the sport, because we know you.
because we know the
We all
men.
know you.
Yeah.
But like, are we not doing our job? Like, what's going on here?
We're working on it.
Yeah,
We're working
It's like
on
the
it.
Canadians and Americans. All the Canadians know all the American politics, and then everyone in America knows nothing about
Zero.
Canada.
Yep.
touche.
Yep. But we're there. No, but it is funny, and it is like, I mean, I think important for us to keep, elevating all the other women around us, right? Because it does just go to show, even like you look at the podcasts and the media that's being put out there, or the YouTube videos, and it is like still pretty male dominated as far as like who's behind the content, but also who's in front of the content. And so, it is like my continued passion in life is just like bringing the women up, because we don't leave the other women behind, like we all look around and go like, hey, where are my ladies at? And like, I love that part of trail running. It feels like we do have such a good community of women. And so that's why it's just like even more important to raise each other up.
Totally.
My pulpit. Let me climb back on it.
I mean, that's part of the Here for the Women's Race campaign. I mean, that is like what it's about.
I know.
right?
That's like literally
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, we're going to have different focuses for the grants every year, but this year is just purely like by women's stories for women's stories, and it's cool. Like, I'm going through a lot of the applications right now with our little committee that decides on who gets the grants. And like, it's really amazing ideas and like a huge like diversity. And there's like, I don't know, dozens of countries represented in the applications too, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
And like, yeah, it's nice to like be able to do something on our end,
So Hilary, if you don't mind sharing, what is the rollout of the grants then, and like the deadline and stuff like that for notification?
We are hoping by the end of January to have like
Ooh.
a pretty short list of applications and be sort of moving into just like the last stage of kind of reaching out to, the ones we think are the best fit. And it's interesting. It's like, it's not necessarily like it has to be the right project for the brief, and like some of them are more like, we're doing this cool, like we're part of an organization or this and that. And so it's like, it is interesting trying to be like, okay, what are we trying to kind of do with this?
Yeah.
But it just also makes us aware of like how many like cool opportunities there are out there, like whether it's like the right fit for this grant or like it gives us an idea for something else. Just like so many women doing really cool stuff. So hopefully like February, we can start rolling out like, highlighting the different projects and then giving people money to go do cool stuff this year.
It'd be cool then if we could highlight some of those stories on the
Yeah, really
podcast
cool.
here to
That
get
would
even
be
like more
awesome.
light on it.
Do a little interview with one of them, or yeah,
That'd be
that's
awesome.
really cool.
Hilary, are you going to give any sort of creative advice? Or maybe some of these people are really well established filmmakers or creatives in the space already, but I'm assuming some aren't, that there's some people that are newer to the space. I'm just curious if there's a mentorship as well, a part of this.
Totally. Yeah, we absolutely, like, I don't want to like leave anyone sort of like, okay, here you go, good luck, like, let me know when it's done. So whether it's me or we like ask other female creatives that I know to kind of come in and help mentor, like I think depending on the project, but I would love to be involved. And so it's just sort of like, what's the right fit and who's the best person to kind of help guide or answer questions, or a few people, just sort of like whatever resources we can pull together with our like collective network, yeah. And it's like, it'll be really interesting to see what gets chosen. I don't think it's going to be necessarily all the like highest level production things, right? It's more about the idea.
Did you guys listen to the Second Nature podcast about the Futurist Project?
No.
I haven't listened to it yet, no, but I do love
Highly
Second
recommend.
Nature.
That's on your to-do list, everybody. Great
Okay.
episode.
Putting it on there.
Also, because I think he's the director of marketing, Vince at Osprey is also on the episode, which is very fun. So we're giving an Osprey shout
We
out.
love you, Vince. If you're listening, you're the
We
best.
love you. Is that his title? Director of marketing, I think. VP of Director of Marketing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sounds about right.
Oh,
but
that's
he's
fun.
on that.
Well,
he's
and-
on it, and everybody should listen to it. The Futurist Project got me going on. After I listened to the episode, I was like, I'm definitely applying. And then Pete's like, "What are you going to apply for?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I want to do this." And he's like, "I don't think you're qualified."
Give us just like a little synopsis of what it is. Now I'm intrigued.
Great. Yeah. So it's for people in the outdoor industry. I think this is its 3rd or 4th year. So it's newer. And I forget the woman's name, but she was the head, I believe, of marketing or brand. I believe for Mountain Hardware, and then also Vince are now the leads of the Futurist Project. So people apply, and there's, I think it's pretty widespread across the outdoor industry. So definitely not running focused only, but basically you apply, and there's all these questions, and there's like an in-person or like Zoom also component to it too. So it's very particular about who's in this program, and you come with a problem. Like, I have this problem in my company or as an entrepreneur with my business, whatever it is in the outdoor industry. And you come and you have a collective of all these people that also work in the outdoor industry and can bring like solutions to your problems, like think through all of this and kind of problem solve things and think outside the box. And then you have a mentor that's connected with you. That's kind of like your one-on-one person that you talk to every 2 weeks or so to try and bring this idea or this, whatever to fruition. And it's a 6 months program, I believe. And it just seems really cool. I mean, when you're listening to it going like, wow, that would be such a fun opportunity to just be amongst all of these leaders in the sport, or just in outdoor, I should say, across the board. And it's just really interesting. I think in my next life, I'm going to be more involved in that part of the world. But I love medicine. So there you go. Right now, this life is medicine and parenting. Next life is going to be more in that. This is very fun. Anyway, so people should think about it, because I think the deadline comes like end of January. So if you haven't listened to that episode, give it a listen. Futurist Project, check it out. Yeah, recommendation. But it's interesting, cool. Hilary, because I was thinking you could think about it, because now that you and Corinne are heading the Here for the Women's Race campaign, it seems like there could be this other part of it, of this mentorship, almost like have, some touches of this Futurist Project, right? Like you're kind of a part of this group. Like, how can the content creators help each other and talk across lines, or like, this is what's going on in my project, or, hey, let's have a monthly meeting. Like, what are you thinking about this? Or my storyline isn't coming the way I wanted it to. And, and it kind of becomes more of a community also of women creators, which would be kind of cool. Anyway, just thinking off the cuff.
Which is also another long-term passion of mine. But speaking of Osprey and sponsors of our amazing show, it's a great time to chat about Janji, which they make great running apparel for everyday explorations. They are an amazing company. They are very grassroots. They're involved in the community. They give 2% of all their sales back to clean water programs. They've donated almost $1 million so far, which is very cool. And I think it's something that we really love, is working with sponsors where we believe in what they're doing. We believe in how they're giving back and being sustainable and building a better world for all of us. My product recommendation of the week is the MultiPass Mini. I used it on a hike in Griffith Park this week. I got my phone in there. I got a little DJI Osmo camera. I got a microphone in there, some poop bags, lots of storage space.
Essential poop bags.
I know. They are essential. But it's a great bag. I used it all over Europe this summer, actually, as a good little travel bag for my passport and stuff like that. So love the MultiPass Mini. Also love the fact that we get 10% off of Janji orders with the code Trail Network. So go online, place your order, use your code, love your gear. And it's super fun to have brands on board, guys, that we can get excited about.
And Hilary, you went to Mongolia with them this year, didn't you, on a photo project?
I did. I know. I have my Mongolia print version of the multi-pass sling. It's like this beautiful like print they made about the landscape, and it's like all these blues and greens, and it totally looks like if you put it up against the Mongolian landscape, like that's the colors, which is really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. I think about it every time I pull it out now. I'm like, oh,
Good memes
there.
That matters. I feel
super
like when
fun.
you have fabrics that match the landscape, we have a buff. I'm sure you guys all saw it, but there's the buff that has that was inspired by the colors of Western states. And my kids have them. They was like discounted for like $2 or something last year at Western States training camp. So I got like 12. And so we have like so many of them because it's my kids wear buffs all the time. But anyways, the reason I'm saying this is because it's not Janji, but that whole idea that I look at this and it just brings me right back to the Western States course. And it's so cool that my kids wear it all the time. So there's something about when a brand is working and spending like that effort and intention about a place and putting it into their fabrics. And every time you think about that, you have that bag, I'm sure you think about Mongolia. That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
know.
I guess
It's
something I've
special.
been learning a lot about in the last year with like a lot of the product design for Further was about like the teams that go into like color and design at these brands. And Rachel, I know you've got some good anecdotes from working with the color team at Nike that I'd love to hear. But like some of these bigger brands just have these big teams that are just dedicated to that entire vision and like that inspiration from landscape that then translates into like the clothing that you see. And it was really interesting with Further. But Rach, I think you have one friend that works for Nike in the color department.
Mika.
Yeah.
There's a color department.
That'd be
Of
such a
course
fun
there's
job.
color-
She's a colorist for Nike Trail. I think she still works in Trail, but like the whole time, well, when I was living with Leah and Mike and in France, I was just like texting her the whole time, like, look at these wildflowers, look at this moss, look at this cool rock. Like, I
That's
was
like
just
the
feeling, I was like,
dream.
she's like, I'm putting it all on my mood board.
Well, because
Like,
it's so cool too, because like Mike had a photo, we were in the desert this weekend and he had this photo of Caleb on the red rock in one of his shoes. And I was like, oh, that's such a sick photo right now. I was like, those colors go so nicely together. He's like, I'm going to send this one to Mika.
yes,
She works on
yes,
all the
love
colors.
it.
And I just think Nike does a really great job with their colorways of their
And-
shoes
Yeah.
too, which is awesome.
This is like totally unsponsored, but Rachel, like shout out to that beautiful jacket you have that's like bluey greeny, like looks like clouds.
Oh,
And you've worn it.
Which one?
No,
What?
you were wearing it in
Yes.
Salt Lake City, and I was like in love with it.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
don't
just
know what you're talking
beautiful.
about.
Yeah, no, it's like sky blue and like
Yeah.
I know one time you were wearing it like pink shorts. I don't know.
Yes, that was
my
it. I think
goodness,
Mike
guys.
took photos
So
of
many
you with it. And I
crushes.
know we know.
Hey.
I'm curious what this is. It's a blue jacket.
I'll find
find
the
it.
photo. Mike took photos of you with
Yeah.
it, and I just like think it's the prettiest color ever. So,
Aw.
anyways,
Wait, guys, I have one more thing on
It's
this.
fun.
So when I went to a photo shoot in Boulder one year for Saucony, and it was so fun because I met the art director, which I was like a colorist. Okay, colorist is even more specific, but I thought the art director was pretty cool. But anyways, I was a part of being the art director, whatever, like his department,
You were the art.
the art of it all. So everybody in that department has a budget to travel. Like it's a part of their job and they can go anywhere they want to just be inspired. So I'm sitting at this table and they're like, yeah, I went to Rome. This other girl like went to India. And there's just like, the whole point is to not be in a box in your computer in your basement working.
Oh my God.
They're like, you need to go explore the world and here's money to do it just to be inspired. And I'm like,
That's
oh,
so
come
cool.
on, sign me
we're
up.
all in the wrong. We're in the wrong
Right?
careers, guys.
I
Rachel,
was just gonna say I will be in
9-hour
an
exams
OR
or
for
travel the world.
That reminds me, I was reading this description of a tank top that I got from Nike, and it was like the team traveled to Alaska and voyaged across glaciers for inspiration for this top. And I was like, okay, it actually totally comes
Tank
through.
top from Alaska.
Well, it's kind of funny because it's a tank top crop top, but it is very glacial.
It seems like you get a warmer garment then.
You'll be hypothermic, but you'll look great.
I feel a little cold.
No, it's a great tank, you guys.
No,
Don't make
it's-
fun of me.
No, I'm not at all. It's just like cool where they get inspiration from, right? It's like more the like the color and the feel and the like what it makes you
Totally.
feel, right?
Well,
Like,
and on that point,
totally.
they actually put it on the label, which is rad. I don't think
Yeah.
Saucony puts it on. They're
There's
not
like-
like, this is what we did to get here. It's like, this is just
Yeah.
what got here. And that's back to storytelling, right? Like, tell me about it. I
Mm.
want
Yeah.
to know
Mhm.
why you came up with that color palette, right? Where that came from. I want to learn all about it. I feel like Speedland does that with some of their shoes, right? Where it's
Yeah.
from different
Their collabs.
regions. And so you kind of like learn
Mhm.
about the
Mhm.
story of that region. I just love when brands put that, because most of them do have the intention behind it. But like, tell me, I want, as the consumer, I want to learn about it. I want to be a part of those behind the scenes conversations. I don't know.
Well, and I feel like it ties into a larger conversation around like brands and just like why it matters, like the intention behind it. And it can't just be like a pretty picture or something anymore. Like I feel like we're all kind of desensitized to
Totally.
just pretty pictures. And so saying on the label, Rach, that like they went to Alaska and that they were physically there and inspired by the terrain tells you that they cared enough to go to Alaska and to like be there and to put that time into it. And they didn't just look at a photo of Alaska and go like, okay, good enough, inspired by a photo of Alaska, you know, like
Mhm.
I think it really matters. And I think the brands that I really admire and respect are the ones that will go that like extra mile to make sure it's like just perfect. Like I've done some like gear testing with Arc'teryx over the years, and they've sent me pants that were like one fabric for one leg and one fabric for the other leg. And sometimes it's kind of awkward because it'll be like a navy and then a black.
That's awesome.
But they're literally comparing two almost identical fabrics. And for like 2 months, I'll wear them and just be like, yeah, this one is slightly more wicking. This one is like slightly more like whatever. But
Epic.
I just love that a brand, and I have a feeling like a lot of the brands do this, they get down to these like almost identical things that are both amazing. And they're just like, but we want the best one. You know, like I just think that's cool. Like it speaks a lot to the brand.
Patagonia's done a couple of really good reels. I don't know if you guys have seen any of their reels on Instagram about like
I like their
behind the
storytelling.
scenes about this jacket that needed, it was a problem because these climbers needed to be able to reach higher, but the jacket was holding them back. And how do you do this? And then you go back to
And
the
they have
person.
their belly buttons exposed when they put their arms up.
It's a crop top jacket.
Okay, this is
Yeah.
making me think about like the importance of storytelling, with product, but also with athletes, and like
Yeah.
how much more you care about watching a sport when you hear the backstory of like Katie
Why?
Asmuth
Yeah.
towing the line, multiple top 10 Western States performances, coming back from a double. We're not even going to say the word.
It's not a
but,
comeback.
Like I feel like so invested
Katie
in your
4.0.
story because I
also
know what
Katie
you've been
Miller
through. And
D.
Like we saw you like around in your boot for like 2 years, Katie, and you were always so positive and so cheerful and there to cheer everybody on, even though like you couldn't even weight bear. And I just feel like when people sort of remember that, and then like they're just going to see that smile on your face and just be like, oh, like she's just having the best time. And I think like it's so easy for us to forget, like, you know, like that feels like, oh, it was a while ago or whatever, but like it's a big deal.
I know, and I do wish it was easier for people to share their stories in this sport. Like I'm just even thinking to like live stream commentary, like an easier way for people to truly share their stories with the people who are then on the microphones sharing those stories, because it's like, you know, some, but there's so many. And I think that's often a big criticism with live streams is like, there's the middle of the pack, there's the back of the pack. There's so many other stories that are not being told. Like, how do we get access to those? And yeah, not easy.
I like the survey.
No.
Remember we did that? I think that was for Black Canyon last year, right, Rach? I think that's where we started it, right? And I made that survey for them. And then we used that survey and showed it to UTMB. And we're like, UTMB, you need to start doing this. And they're like, no, people just need to update the UTMB profile. And we're like, no, it's not the same. Anyways, maybe there's ego there. Cause I'm like, I built this survey and it was great. But anyway, I think that's a really good point. I do think back to just like athletes' responsibility of telling their own story. And this does kind of touch onto what some of the stuff Courtney Olsen said in her interview. And oh gosh, I love that interview. If you guys haven't listened to that interview, it was amazing. You guys did such a good job interviewing her. I had a great chat with her after. It was great. But she was really open about how, she didn't feel appreciated enough, right? And then when I talked to her on the phone, she's like, maybe I didn't do a good enough job of actually like putting myself out there as much as I needed to. It's just not my personality. And that the brand really needs to uplift me as a person. I can't just be this outgoing person constantly trying to shove myself in, everybody else's faces. That's just not my personality. And so it's really hard because the brand needs to be able to bring that out of you and tell that story. Yeah. But there is some of that responsibility on the athlete to actually be open about their story, to be able to get it out there. It's a fine line, like whose responsibility is it to create the content or to have that idea, initially. Anyway, yeah.
Your husband's responsibility to create the content.
Okay, Leah, he started a YouTube channel. I was watching it the other morning. It was great.
I missed it.
He's doing a great job. I highly recommend the most recent episode. So Finn put out a video. Well, Mike put out the first video of Finn and him doing a workout together. And then Finn put one out too.
Like a rivalry, right?
Right. They have a great rivalry going for Trans Gran Canaria, which is in less than a month. Mike was, however, quite hindered by a very severe ankle injury last night. That is not a broken bone, we know, but maybe a very bad sprain.
Oh, no. He rolled it on a run, or
it was we led a group run for Rufa. It's like we had like 2 running groups come in together last night as a organization, like advocacy run for Rufa, and me and Mike were leading it. And right after the summit of grandeur, with like 2.5 miles left to go downhill, like over 2,000 feet in the dark, in the cold. I wasn't even with him. I was like up ahead of him. He rolled his ankle on a root and rock and like was hobbling down the mountain. Somebody came down and they're like, hey, he was concerned about you, that you're going to be cold. So here's the car key. I was like, concerned about me? I'm going to go find him. And I like ran up the trail. But he's doing okay. So I think Finn put the rock and the root on the trail.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Sounds like Finn. That sounds like Finn.
It was funny though. They were taking like Dakota was on the run and he was taking like B-roll of Mike being like, I think Finn did that to me. And then right at the end of the video, Finn comes walking up the trail to check on Mike, and he's like, okay, maybe Finn's kind of a nice guy.
Oh, that's too good.
What a bummer, man.
Hope he's okay.
I think Finn trying to be nice was clearly a cover up.
Yeah. He's just trying to look good.
Okay,
but no, yeah, Mike did start YouTube a couple weeks ago, and it's been really fun so far. And I hope he keeps it going.
Yeah, it's great. It actually, you know what, Mike inspired me too, because I've tried to start my YouTube channel about 5 times now, and I get like 2 episodes in, and it's too hard to keep it going. But it just made me sort of appreciate that it doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly.
And I've actually seen, like, just as a bigger conversation, like on social media, people talking about just being less perfect online. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm trying to like lean into that as well and just like be a bit messier. And like, I mean, even with the podcast guys, I was thinking about it, and I might as well say it on the air, but like compare this to like our first episode when we were all like giving each other hand signals of like who got to talk next, right? Because we didn't want to interrupt each other. And now I've heard like 3 of us talk right over each other and then just keep going. But I think it's great. Totally. And I'm sorry to our listeners, but I think it's actually like awesome to see where it evolves, and also just like in general, just to be a little like less worried about it all being perfect.
It's so true.
More like the story and the intention and the like the message behind it, right?
I think so. And I feel like that aspect like carries over to like every element of your life. Like I'm just even thinking when you said that, Hilary, about like how long I sit and stare at an email for work before I send it. And I'm like reading over it, making sure it's perfect. And it's like, it's good enough. Like
sometimes that's a good idea. Sometimes that's good, Leah, because sometimes you see it go and then you're like, oh no. But yeah. In that general, I think go for it, Rach.
I was going to say, it made me think of your podcast with Ali O, and I feel like I just loved her perspective on, she's like, if I don't like doing the YouTube thing, I just won't do it. Like,
she'll take months
do
off.
it until it's fun, and then, I was like, I think that's a really cool perspective to have. Like, you don't need to put pressure on it.
And no one's sitting here being like, oh my gosh. I mean, hey, even this week, we're like a little late recording. It's going to come out a little late, but like, it's okay. Like, I think in general, just like being okay with the fact that it's life and like it's better than nothing. And, like we're all just trying to roll with it. But
okay, Hilary, can you tell us a little bit more about this YouTube channel? Like, how has it changed over the year?
Oh my gosh.
Years?
It's so embarrassing.
Tell us. Give us
what's
the
so funny?
Scenes.
Okay, well, it's just kind of sad because I do believe that there isn't enough like women doing YouTube content, right? And so when I started it, Billy was a huge advocate. I'm like, babe, there's like there's a niche, there's a fit for you. And he's so right. If I had like started it properly a couple years ago and really pursued it, I'm sure I'd be freaking killing it. But it just takes time and resources, and I like film it all myself, and then I edit it all myself, and then somewhere in that like chain of events, I either get sick of myself or I like have other things that are actually paying me money, you know, like it's hard. It's really hard to prioritize it. And so but like I did a couple really fun videos. Like I did one on Lake Sonoma 50 miler, and it got like, I don't know, it's got like 50 or 60,000 views, which for like my second video that I ever put out was like cool. And like,
that's
I was
more
proud
than
of myself.
cool.
I like filmed myself while I ran it. I had like a good fine day, and like it was just like, it was fun. And it showed, like, I still get comments where people go and watch it before they run Lake Sonoma. And I'm just like, it makes me be like, I don't know, I have to not feel like bad about myself, because then I feel like I kind of failed by not like doing more.
Make one at Black Canyon,
Maybe.
just off the cuff.
Well,
no pressure.
I'll give you a GoPro for B-roll, and I'll just wear the GoPro the whole race.
Yes.
It'll be perfect.
Oh my gosh, it'll be like a Katie monologue.
No, I don't want to
That
talk
would
to
be
you,
really
but just
cool,
like I can
Hilary.
do the whole race. You can see the whole
That'd
course.
be fun.
You'll just see Katie passing everyone.
I have so many fun ideas. I've like wanted to do one on like the behind the scenes of shooting Western States, and like what that looks like. I have 2 years of footage that I started to do something on that I just haven't finished. So maybe this will be the year. But yeah, I'm just, I guess, putting it out there that like it's okay to do things and like then to restart them, and we don't need to apologize to people for it. Maybe we can just like restart it. Because then I was like, well, I have to make a grand announcement, and now I'm back. And then you just get stuck on all these little details, right? Like. No one
or you can
cares.
just do it and let them come.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
Wait, Hilary, can I just say Billy needs to help if he's like, I encourage you. And it turns out he's a filmmaker. Like, hey, hubby.
He gets great footage of me, but like he also has his own stuff. And so we sort of help each other out with footage. But then the rule is like, I give you footage, you take it, and it's your responsibility to do something with it. And so that's where the buck stops with me.
I do want to say, I know we should probably cut off soon, but like one of my favorite experiences of the summer was watching like Hilary and Billy in action at like peak stress of like multiple weeks in Europe together, putting on our live podcast with Lucy Bartholomew in a small hotel room in Chamonix. And they worked wonderfully together.
I mean, Leah, do you remember, like, we forgot to bring a tripod, and Billy was so mad at me because I sort of was just like, hey, babe, we're recording a podcast in 45 minutes, and can you help me set it up? And we have nothing. And he was like, what? You're so disorganized.
Billy was just like silent and fueled on gummy bears for like this hour of us trying to get
That's what we need. We need the behind the scenes of that. We need to be filming that, right?
We had like Mike's camera propped up on like a hotel chair with like a stack of books, and we were like balancing the camera on that as the tripod. So
that was a really good one, you guys.
We just made it work, you know?
It was great.
You know? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's our motto for 2025. I feel like right now that's my motto. Is it's like, doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it out the door, and people like that, you know?
Because that's life, you know?
Or like, and lean into the behind the scenes, Hilary. I think people are really into it. People want to see like what's actually not polished. Like what's happening. Like how do you set up the cameras? Right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Like people want to see Billy eating the gummy bears,
maybe,
you know?
That's true. That's true. Maybe you guys for Black Canyon, I will try to pull something off, because it's true. I'm out there Saturday and I don't have any like real responsibilities, which I'm embracing right now. And I don't want real responsibilities. So nobody talk to me. It's not true. Actually, I am going to pace my friend at night.
Perfect.
But that doesn't count. That's just fun.
That's fun stuff. You got all day.
Yeah, exactly. But from like most of the racing part, I get to just run around. So maybe I'll come up with something. But it'll be fun. Rach, I see you yawning. You've had a long day.
Tired. It's about that time.
Oh, this was fun though, guys. Speaking of just like, you know, messy and all of us and, you know, life. But I'm going to Vancouver tomorrow, so that's exciting. I get to escape the AQI here.
Good. That'll be nice. Vancouver this time of year is actually pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, it's supposed to be sunny. It's kind of ironic though, because I really wanted to do a bunch of skiing, and now they have not great snow. But that's okay. They have got good air quality, so
That's
I
good.
can
It'll be a
start
nice
my
reprieve.
hard rock training.
Starts now.
I keep being like, next week. It'll start next week.
You got time.
Yeah. Oh man, I need to come out to you, Leah. We need to do a boot camp.
Totally. I will. We can do that little race I found and just suffer for 50 miles.
Yeah.
And
We're all
like
doing it,
20,000 feet.
remember?
Yeah,
You guys keep leaving us out.
What's it called again? Let's just give a shout
I
out.
think Connors claims 50K, 50 mile in Tooele, Utah, which is way out west in mountains.
All of that is
nobody
French
ever
to me.
explores.
But that's awesome.
Can we
I
also
love
do
those races.
the Bear Gutsman race?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a great name.
I really want to do that one.
let's do it.
What's that one?
When's that one, Rach?
I think it's July.
think
It's like late July, I think like maybe early August. It'd be a good UTMB tune-up.
Great hard rock paper,
It's
Leah.
just like
Or
their
post-hard
website
rock.
is great. I learned about it from a critical care fellow who does it every year, and he was like, "Yeah, it's one of those no nonsense, like no complaining, no frills."
It
Like,
literally says no whiners allowed on the website here. Good luck, you'll need it. There's no trail. It's a bushwhack into the jaws of death.
I
Ooh,
love
I
these
kinda like
races.
trails.
There's a
I
Think I'm
gotta
out.
sign up. I gotta sign up right now.
There's a club in Vancouver called Club Fat Ass, and their motto is, and it's on the back of the shirt. It says, "I may be a fat ass, but I'm in front of you," and it's just like.
That's hilarious.
I just like I kind of love that. I don't want to lose that part of trail running, like we've got the big fancy races and like the UTMB soundtrack and da da da, but like I don't know, there's something really fun about these races that start and end in a field and are like, okay, go, come back, bye.
I love
it.
I love it so much.
could be
I'll
a
never
whole
forget
series.
doing the North.
Hilary, that could be a whole series
Yes.
on your YouTube. Or like races you've never heard
Then-
of. You know?
Then they'll blow up and they won't.
Oh,
be-
yeah. Okay,
I know.
good point.
Cash 22.
Shoot.
Yeah. But maybe we should all make that our motto this year. Sign up for a mom and pop race somewhere.
Yeah.
What if you don't say the name of the race? What if you're just like, I'm here, and you're going to have to figure out where this is because it's epic? That'd be funny.
I mean, I also think I was never one of those people that was like gatekeeping places on Instagram or whatever. I also think like whatever, the world's big, and of all the people that watch something, how many of them are actually going to go to the middle of wherever in Utah that I've never heard of before to run this race? So it's going to be a small number, so maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
So true.
Until you have your 3 million views. Then it's like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yes. There we go. Once I hit that threshold, we'll reassess. All right. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for the great chat tonight.
I love that we keep with no time.
Nice.
Rachel, get some sleep.
We were just
Yeah, we talked for 51 minutes.
Yeah, we did great.